What's up YouTube? It's Heretic here and welcome back. This is a special video. I actually just got the whole setup to record just last night, so we're going to go ahead and jump on this here real quick. Some of you may have seen my Facebook post or Treynor Wolfe's Facebook post also last night during our Draw Pass stream. You may have also, for those of you who listened in, may have just heard it right there. We kind of went through some of the Steam Siege cards that are what is in the Japanese equivalent to the set, how many cards are in the set, which we know, and confirmed that there is indeed one unknown trainer card or full art card in the set that we were beginning to speculate about. So, of course, the big question now is that card Karen? So, the first thing I want to look at is we can go ahead and find the image for Captivating Pokepuff. And this is very relevant because it tells us the card number, not only of itself, but also of how many cards are in the set. So if we go ahead and look at this here, you can see Captivating Pokepuff is card number 99 out of 114 in the English release of Steam Siege. Now this is relevant because when you look at how many cards we have here, 99 cards, and how many cards have also been confirmed for the set and what they are. The English set having 114 cards before secret rare cards, so we're looking at a situation where we had basically I went ahead and counted up all of the cards in both Japanese halves of the set, Cruel Traitor and Explosive Fighter, and then of course the order that these cards are put into when they're released in English being originally by type, then by National Pokedex order, although as you can see here, like with Tangrowth for example at the top, it goes by the basic Pokemon and where they are located in the National Pokedex, and then evolutions immediately follow it, even though Tangrowth normally would fall in between Shiftry and Foongus. And if we just stuck entirely to National Pokedex order. But otherwise, the basics will fall in order: Tangela, then the Hoppip line, the Yanma line, Seedot, Foongus, Larvesta, and so on and so forth, as Larvesta is actually a grass type this time around, so it's not a mistake as to why it's ahead of Ponyta. And for the dual types, it goes by whichever type was placed on the left side, which is not always the type that comes first in set order. For example, you can look at Mega Steelix, which has the metal type listed before the fighting type. An easy way to figure that, just look at any previous set to know what order the types go in, or also what order the basic energy cards come in when they're released in a numbered set, as opposed to just the ones you get out of Elite Trainer boxes and such. So anyway, you could see all the way down to card number 164 here, but we're going to go ahead and zoom in here a bit so that it's a little easier for you guys to be able to notice this. So I'll zoom in a few times here. That was more than a few times, but whatever. So I'll get a couple more. Okay, so you can see cards number 1 through 19 on the screen right now. Tangela all the way up through Monferno. None of this is stuff that wasn't released in the Japanese two sets, but we were able to, with the confirmation of Talonflame BREAK, which is an edition that was not in the Japanese set, which is why it has a star here next to it. I was able to look at the set, the National Pokedex order, and come up with all of the cards that go from numbers 1 through 20, all of which are in the Japanese sets, to add up to where number 21, Talonflame BREAK, is located. And then we were able to continue on from there. So you can just kind of see all of these cards. I'm not going to go too in depth on any of these right now, but all of them are part of either Explosive Fighter or Cruel Traitor. So Talonflame BREAK is the first set. Is here. We'll try to get this. As you go, we can see numbers 19 through 37. Once again, only the Talonflame BREAK is a new edition. Volcanion-EX, the regular art version, has also already been confirmed as to what the set number is due to a leak of the English image, which eight of the cards in the set have had their English image and card numbers released or leaked, and so all of those cards will have stars next to them. We basically had those to work with as a starting point. So you can just see, you can kind of hear Mantine, Shellos, and it goes into water types. You see the Clawitz or Break evolution. You continue to scroll down here, go all the way up through number 55, and really all of these, all the way up until Captivating Pokepuff, are cards, with the exception of Talonflame with the exception of Talonflame BREAK, are cards that have been released in either Explosive Fighter or Cruel Trader. So there's nothing really too crazy here. We have the Steelix EX Mega Evolution line. We have the Yveltal BREAK, the Bisharp that was revealed in an English image already. This is actually supposed to be Monferno-EX, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that for you guys. That was just me getting lazy with my typing, I guess. Azumarill, Gardevoir, and Mega Gardevoir, 3 consecutive cards have been revealed, 77, 78, and 79. So again, this just kind of guides to make sure that we're not forgetting a card or there's not an additional card at some point in the set based on what is in the Japanese sets and the way they would be organized. As I said, Pokemon are organized by the basic Pokemon's position in the National Pokedex, and then their evolution line follows them, and then before that they're organized by type. Grass, Fire, Water, Lightning, Psychic, Fighting, Darkness, Metal, Fairy, Dragon, Colorless, in that order. So you may notice the Talonflame line is all the way down here. That is because the Talonflame line, with the exception of the BREAK, are all colorless types in the set. The BREAK evolution being a Japanese promo originally that's been added to the English set is a fire type, which is why it is much further up the list, since colorless is at the end. Now we get to card number 100 here. Now number 99 is Captivating Pokepuff. We know that already. So number 98, the only trainer card in the set that we know for sure will have an English name that alphabetically comes before Captivating Pokepuff, is Armor Fossil Shieldon. This is relevant because trainer cards, unlike the Pokemon, are mixed together as opposed to Item Support or Stadium does not matter. They are mixed together and written out alphabetically, and that is how they're ordered in a set. Take a look at any of the Black and White or XY sets for confirmation on that. Exceptions, of course, are made for Full Arts and Secret Rares, which are placed in with Full Arts and Secret Rares respectively. Trainers also always come after Pokemon, and if you're looking at a Full Art trainer, it would come after the Full Art Pokemon, and then of course Secret Rares will be like 115 of 114, and 116 of 114 will be the Secret Rares, which in this case, Volcanion-EX and Gardevoir EX. So again, based on the Japanese release. We have Captivating Pokepuff, which we know is number 99 out of 114, as right here. So going farther with that, we can look at Claw Fossil Anorith, which we know, along with all of the other trainer cards except for Armor Fossil Shieldon, will come after Captivating Pokepuff. Now we also know here, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here, that the set contains 7 non-secret rare full art cards. And that those are Pokemon Ranger, and then our 6 EXs, Volcanion, Magearna, the Mega Gardevoir line, and the Mega Steelix line. So all of these are non-secret rare full arts, so we can count backwards from number 114 all the way back to number 108. Then we also have 115 and 116, which are the secret rares. So that leaves us with numbers 100 through 107, which are the 7 remaining trainer cards. Presumably you could also have a special energy card in there, or maybe there's another full art that's been thrown into the set, which would simply bump the full arts up to start at 107. Now, 6 of those cards we know already. Gardevoir Spirit Link, Greedy Die, Ninja Boy, Pokemon Ranger, Special Charge, and Steelix Spirit Link. Now, presumably Greedy Die, I think, is probably the biggest candidate, but also Special Charge, or any of these cards for that matter, could have a name change when they come into English. However, that would not really affect anything except for maybe the exact number on some of these, which is why they are in parentheses. Gardevoir Spirit Link and Steelix Spirit Link are not going to change. I really, just the way that those are done. Those two, we can basically lock in what their names will be, but we can't lock in their set number due to, once again, if the name of something else were to change and make everything else be placed somewhere different alphabetically. We also do not know what this last card is. Right now I have it filled in as Karen at number 103 of 114, which is really would be the best thing for the game right now, in my personal opinion, because with the more help that Night March gets in this set in the form of Pokemon Ranger and Special Charge, it really does need to be curbed, and especially for Worlds after watching it win US Nationals. The deck is so extremely powerful already. It has been really all the way back to Cities, especially during States, and it is only going to get more powerful with Steam Siege if we do not get Karen. Now, I know some of you guys are thinking Karen in Japan has not been released yet. It is in August and September, Blastoise Mega Battle promo, but hear me out here. This card, aside from the obvious reasoning of Night March is too powerful right now, when Karen was revealed, and not obviously I'm not even talking about a release, but was first revealed. I think this really felt a lot like when the Sigilyph for Dragons Exalted, only in promo form, was revealed, or Marowak with Bodyguard saying, this is TPCI saying, oops, we messed up, guys. And that's not just because Water Pokemon Master decided to put a strike through on the line, we're sorry about Night March. But just the more I look at this, it feels like a card that could definitely be in the set. Also, a lot of people like to say, well, Japan will not have this card yet. Karen is an August and September promo, meaning that with Worlds taking place in August, unless someone has concrete proof that the card will absolutely not be in circulation in Japan before then, there is no reason why it could not be included in the set. I understand that Japanese players would have a difficult time getting a hold of it. However, I also do remember hearing that English cards are legal pretty much everywhere for the most part, and that with the difference in the Japanese backs, it is something like you have to play 30 English cards and 30 Japanese cards. Now, I could be wrong. They may have changed this since then. That might also just be like old Japanese backs, like basic energies and stuff, and current ones, I don't know. I'm not 100% on that, so someone feel free to clarify that in the comments if you are 100% certain on that. However, that said, possible candidates for this slot, which may not be 103, but it is somewhere in the 100 to 114 range. Depending, I only circle down to 114 because if it is a full art, then it will be somewhere between 108 and 114. Otherwise, it will be right here in this batch. Or technically, I should start that at 100. But cards that I feel are the candidates for here, Karen, obviously, Pokeball, reason being because the Foongus, which is all the way up at the top of the set, has an ability that pulls 3 Pokeballs from your discard pile to your hand. So we have to make that a relevant choice here. I'm also going to why my counter arguments for some of these cards. The next card is Professor Sycamore. In Japan, when you purchased both a box of Explosive Fighter and Cruel Trader, a full art Professor Sycamore was also included, which we have an image for, is right here. Not the clearest image in the world, and it has some text over it, but this, of course, is another candidate. I do believe we will see this card in English by the end of the year. However, much like with the Full Art Steven and Full Art Skyla promos in the XY series, which were released in the same manner, and with the Japanese counterparts to Roaring Skies and Breakthrough, we saw these cards in the English releases of Ancient Origins and Breakpoint, respectively. Thus, I believe this will be included in our November release, which I do believe will be XY12 or something of the sort, before we are started on the TCG counterparts for Sun and Moon, with the video games releasing later this fall. I think, once again, we will see a February release to start a new generation of trading card sets, in this case Sun and Moon, so we will probably have a reprint set or something else to kind of round off the Sun and Moon, or the XY era in the Pokemon trading card game. So I think cards like this and anything else that they plan to release from the XY arc that we have not gotten in terms of Japanese promos will definitely be included in that set. If they don't plan to release it here, that sucks. Rip Shiny Mega Gengar. But who knows? We could be surprised. Right now, this is kind of what I'm seeing here. I don't think we're going to see any crazy League promos like we did with N last time due to the way League promos have progressed. I think this stuff will be included in the set. We also know that the Mega Beedrill line and Wobbuffet Break are being released in promo boxes here before the fall. Mega Beedrill, I think, is actually in the fall. Wobbuffet Break is part of the Lugia and Ho-Oh box with Ho-Oh Break in it, so that kind of debunks any major deal, in my opinion, on CP4 being an English release set. We may see the regular art versions of some of the cards that we've gotten as full arts in the 20th Anniversary Generations boxes, since I know Mew, as well as Shaman and Jirachi, I believe, correct me again if I'm wrong, have been revealed with Japanese regular art versions, so we may see those as well. We also know there's a Mega Slowbro coming out in Japan, but I believe that Full Art Professor Sycamore will be included in that set, and I really wish they would have given us better artwork for this, to be honest, but I am not on the shirtless bandwagon. I just wish that I'm just not too big on this art. But in any case, that's the Full Art Sycamore that we've been given. So going back to the set, the fourth card I believe it could be, and I'm not going to name a specific one because I don't think it will be the one obvious choice, which would be double colorless, but a special energy card. This is mainly because of Special Charge, a card that once again corresponds to cards that are not in the set. And this comes into play with the English pre-release packs in particular, where they try to make these cards work, you know, just together with one another. Of course, they could just ignore the pre-release format completely and release Special Charge in a set with no special energy. However, double colorless energy was released in the previous set, which is Fates Collide. So it would be very easy for the Pokemon Company to simply toss in a double colorless energy or two into one or two of the pre-release starter packs to go along with Special Charge. I don't believe they'll release double colorless in 2 consecutive sets. Rainbow Energy would be the next easy choice, but that was also released not that long ago, less than a year ago, in Breakthrough, was its most recent reprint. So with those two out of the way, yes, they reprinted Strong Energy last set, so we could be looking at Wonder Energy, Burning Energy, or let's see, we got Wonder Energy, which would correspond to these 3. Burning Energy would correspond here, as well as potentially Splash Energy, both of which were recently printed. And also, I believe the final candidate here would be Shield Energy, which could work here. Probably the Shield and Wonder Energy being the most likely scenarios, or candidates. However, again, I think it would be very easy for Pokemon to simply throw in double colorless energy from the previous set into the pre-release little bonus pack or whatever, evolution pack, whatever it's called, which, you know, they released some cards that were in previous sets in the evolution packs, specifically the trainer cards, which is what they were entirely made up of aside from basic energies. So I think with that we can go ahead and debunk the special energy. So that leaves us with 3 candidates. Now, Professor Sycamore, this is a card that was most recently reprinted in Breakpoint. Now, if we start getting into some rotation analytics here, I believe that Professor Sycamore, aside from the full art, which I believe we will see in November, this is a card that's not going to rotate anytime soon, and it's not going to rotate without the rotation of Steam Siege. Now, I base that based on the blocks of the current sets due to the fact that we do not have another base set for a video game after Primal Clash until Sun and Moon. I do believe we will see a rotation in between these 2 sets, as it is simply too many sets to rotate at one time. Assuming there is an XY12, you would be rotating 8 sets plus generations. Double Crisis can be whatever. But I do believe next year we will rotate to Breakthrough on, which would leave Professor Sycamore and Pokeball in the format still, as Sycamore was printed most recently in the Breakpoint expansion, and Pokeball was reprinted in Generations. So these are both cards that, in those printings, could easily be included in the evolution packs once again for Steam Siege. Do I believe they'll print Professor Sycamore in the evolution pack? Probably not. I don't think they're that nice. However, you could make the case because, yes, a regular art Skyla was printed in Breakthrough. They just didn't give us the full art until Breakpoint. The same goes for Steven. However, Steven was already in the Japanese equivalent to Roaring Skies, if I'm not mistaken, in its regular art form. It was merely the full art that was held off. As for Skyla, I think they wanted the card to be legal with Breakthrough, the way it was in its Japanese release, although in Japan they were still playing black and white on. But outside of Japan, where we play standard format of XY on, they wanted Skyla to come back into the format, but so they gave us a regular art version. For cards that are already in the format, I don't think it's really all that necessary. It would be a bit of a letdown if it was just another regular art Professor Sycamore, and not even the full art, which I could conceivably see happening, but the fact that they just printed it 2 sets ago makes it highly unlikely, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. Now, Pokeball was in Generations, which is a set that they have not wanted to release anything so far since it has been in Generations, in anywhere outside of Generations. That includes the reprints. However, once again, I think that just the fact that this card was in Generations and it was released so recently and continues to be released and will be so all the way through November at the very least, if not December, it just seems like too much of something that they've got it released already. They're still making money off something that has this card in it. Why would we release it now in the exact same artwork form? So that leaves us with Karen. And, you know, if you want to make a case for another trainer or full art card, maybe that was released in Japan recently, or is a promo over there, you know, go ahead and kind of bust all those out. But for right now, Karen seems like the biggest thing that would help the format, and a reason why they would push Steam Siege into legality in time for Worlds by making it legal on the 3rd Friday instead of 3 full weeks after its street date release. And I don't believe this is a fall regionals thing, because the way release patterns go, the set XY12 will be released in the first weekend of November, as far as we know, at least the way release patterns have been over the last several years. And its street date will be the first Wednesday in November. Normally, sometimes it's Tuesday, but whatever. That will still be after all of fall regionals conclude in October. So if they wanted to make it a regionals thing as far as its legality date, why not just go ahead and bring that up to winter regionals, where we will see Sun and Moon, assuming the release patterns and coincide with regionals dates in the same manner. We will see Sun and Moon legal for 2 weeks of regionals, weeks 2 and 3, as opposed to only week 3. So that is the next time that this would actually make a difference. So basically, in other words, it seems to me like they would want to make Karen or something else in the set, put something in the set that will drastically affect gameplay. As I said, with Pokemon Ranger and Special Charge being in the set, Night March becomes even more powerful than it already is. It just won the biggest tournament of the year. There were a lot of Night March decks in Day 2. It wasn't just Nick Robinson, who ended up winning the whole event. Congrats to him, by the way. But it was a lot of Night March decks, whether they were just straight Night March, Vespiquen, with the Maxie's Gallade and Marowak engine, just whatever. It is still Night March. It is still obscenely powerful. I believe more so than Seismitoad was in all of its forms last year, except for Toad Shaman. And what happened with Toad Shaman? Well, Lysander's trump card was banned. Granted, this ban also partially stemmed from the Japanese metagame, where they had a serious problem with Shiftry that later resulted not only in Lysander's trump card getting banned, but also in Shiftry getting banned from Expanded. However, I think that this is just too big of a deal to kind of notice. Night March was printed with Lysander's trump card in mind to balance the set, or not the set, but to balance the archetype. With Lysander's trump card not in play, it has been proven over the last year that Night March is simply too powerful due to its not having its counterbalance card in the format. So that's why they've decided to make Karen, it seems. And why would you not go ahead and just rush release this card? You can make it available. You can do a rush release of the Japanese promo and make it available earlier in August if you want to make it available for Japanese players in time for Worlds. You could, that route doesn't seem like a bad route to go either. Or you can just make it so that the English copies are legal. Maybe you need color-backed sleeves if you're playing Japanese cards at Worlds. But I digress. I do feel this card should be in the set, and although in my previous video I stated that I felt it would not be, I have flip-flopped on this a few times. It's very tough to say definitively because we don't know, so we can't be 100%, but I do believe Karen, Pokeball, Professor Sycamore, or a special energy card, those are your choices. If it is Full Art Sycamore, that would be number 114, so numbers 108 to 114 right now would all move up one slot and would become 107 to 113 due to Professor Sycamore alphabetically placing after Pokemon Ranger. However, I think we are going to see Karen probably at number 103 like I have here. Translation names, which really the only one I see changing could potentially be Greedy Die because they don't want the word die in there. You could very easily just go like this, Greedy Dice, or they could just change it to something else. But as for right now, this is what we have. I do believe that at roughly 103, we will see Karen in this set right now. It just seems like it makes the most sense, not in terms of necessarily where it's being released in Japan, but just in terms of what it would do for the meta and the fact that this is the World Championships we're talking about. I also do feel that if we don't get it in this set, it will still be released by the end of the year in the XY12 set, because if they're going to Sun and Moon to start the new year, especially in Japan, it would be in December. I think they're going to go ahead and get all of the cards they intend to release worldwide from the XY arc released. We could also see a reprint of something like Super Scoop Up, which is about to rotate out of format. I personally would bank more on that being in XY12, much like Energy Switch was in Legendary Treasures, along with the alternate art Bianca we had. Just kind of drawing some parallels, but for now that is what I'm looking at. So that does leave Karen as, once again, the Mastodon in the room in terms of what card we're looking for. And for those of you guys who don't know what Karen does, this card shuffles all Pokemon in both players' discard piles back into their respective decks. It is Lysander's trump card for Pokemon only, which means that not only does this not allow stuff like Toad Shaman and all these Crushing Hammers and stuff like that to be reused, but it also cripples Night March twice as badly as the Lysander's trump card did, because with the trump card they at least got their battle compressors and all that stuff back. With Karen, you do not. It can also slide into any number of decks and formats, simply replacing Sacred Ash, which will be rotating. Now, granted, Super Rod will still be in format, but I see where this could just be a very good card in decks that run Skyfields, such as Raichu or Mega Rayquaza, and also decks like Greninja, where we're relying on getting out several Stage 2 or Break evolutions of Stage 2, technically just Stage 3 lines. So just anything like that, you know, you could definitely see Karen making an impact. If it were to be released, I don't think it's just a scare tactic to take people out of playing Night March. I do think it is a large part of the meta. People who ignore that will pay the price come Worlds. However, if it is not released, people who ignore the Mastodon that is Night March, I think will likewise pay the price. And if this card is not released in Steam Siege and made legal in time for Worlds, I do believe that your successful meta in Worlds will be Night March decks and counter decks for Night March. Primarily that means Trevenant and maybe Vileplume Vespiquen. Karen could take Night March and Vileplume Vespiquen, or just Vespiquen variants in general, pretty much out of the forefront of the meta. As one copy would simply take away the entire setup, as well as not giving them their battle compressors and everything back, so they would have to be hyper conservative with their resources, which is not really the style that such decks really run on. And, I mean, I do really feel like even Trevenant lists themselves could actually run a copy of Karen. You know, it's like all your Trevenants are gone. You can also VS Seeker for it. You know, it is a supporter. It is not just something that's like, oh, you get one use, or, oh, I discarded it. It's gone. No. It is a supporter card. It has VS Seeker compatibility. But I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this off for you guys. This is just my reasoning as to why Karen is in the set. I will have the entire list posted in the description of the video once it is completely uploaded and I'm able to add it. So if you're reviewing this right after I uploaded it, like the second it was published, like, oh, let's click, and it's not there yet, just try to refresh. Hopefully it will be there. If it is not, that means I'm not home right now, and I will just go ahead and get it up ASAP. But otherwise, that's the list. That's what I've got for right now. As far as cards number 1 through 99 at the very least goes, I am 99.9% positive that these are all accurate, 1 through 99. We will know within by the end of the month, of course, come pre-releases in 2 more weeks. But for now, this is what I'd be willing to roll with. Assuming that we do not get full art Sycamore in the set, I would also be willing to bet that numbers 108 through 114 are accurate, which leaves only this little batch here. We know 6 of these cards for sure that do not have question marks. We don't know their numbers for sure, but let's face it, Gardevoir and Steel Spirit Link names are not going to change. Ninja Boy and Pokemon Ranger don't seem like they're going to change, so that leaves us with Special Charge and Greedy Die, and then our open slot, Karen, Pokeball, Professor Sycamore, or a Special Energy card. Now, Pokeball or Professor Sycamore, Pokeball would come in after Ninja Boy before Ranger. Sycamore would come in after Ranger before Special Charge if it is a regular art, or at 114 if it is a full art. A Special Energy card would go here at 107. But I am willing to go with Karen as my lead candidate here. So, I've changed my mind. Karen is in the set, at least according to the logic that I came up with. Treynor Wolfe and I did some discussion on this, as well as Brandon Wynn, the 3 of us on Draw Pass last night. If you guys heard that, you are aware of this. We also made these posts on Verbank, Treynor and I did. So this is just kind of what we've come up with, and I'm pretty confident in, at the very least in the rest of the set outside of this, that we have this pretty accurate and nailed down. So anyway, there you go, and I'll see you guys back with another video here hopefully tomorrow. Cheers!